what do you feel about the Texas becoming a constitutional carry state?
Well, I think it's a great thing, first of all. I know that a lot of people are upset about it. I tell them that, if you have to ask permission, it's not a right. Okay, so all the constitutional carry does is it recognizes that this is a right that you can exercise. That's it. It does lay some groundwork for some other things. And what I tell people about constitutional carry is that just because it's there doesn't mean that you should not consider getting your LTC or your license to carry, because that still has a lot of value. It's still going to be there. The LTC is not going away.
Oh, okay.
LTC is not going away. That's a big misconception. No, it's not. It's going to be here. And the reason for it is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's in our best interest to see the LTC continue to be in play, because one of the best things that the LTC does for you is it allows you to walk into a gun store and purchase a firearm without a wait.
Sure.
You can just go in, purchase, show your LTC card, and you're good. A second thing that is valuable is that going through the LTC process, you learn about, at the very smallest level, you learn about the law. What you can and can't do, what you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah, like you can't walk into a bar that's selling 51% alcohol with a gun.
All of
I mean, there's that like that was the biggest thing I was nervous about with this
sure.
Constitutional carry, is having people go in places that, because I mean, in that class, they like coming from California, I had a concealed weapons permit in California. Coming to Texas, it was really interesting to sit in that class, which I did at your spot at the range, and learn about Texas's view of this, and where a gun can and can't go, and here and there. And it was I thought that was really interesting. Like, hey, if you're going to go out and have some drinks, don't even put it in your car. Like, leave it at home. Or if you're going into this place, or if they're selling food, and it just
you just have to be a little bit more mindful. But that's the thing. The courts are looking at you as being you're a little bit level up and more responsible. Now, a third reason why it's valuable is that the LTC provides you with reciprocity. So if you travel out of the state of Texas and you go to a state that has reciprocity with the state, you wouldn't be able to carry in there constitutionally, unless that state was also constitutional carry, which is nice. We're seeing 21 states right now legally transition to that. When we get to 25, I think it's going to be a very interesting landscape. That will be very interesting to see that.
Is there... I understand why our founding fathers wrote the Second Amendment. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, you give people, the First Amendment, right to free speech, and then you give them the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms to protect the First Amendment. It always made sense to me in that way. But what it's a little scary for me is the lack of training. That it's not as if and to think if every gun owner reached out to a Craig and a Jeff, they would be so far along, but obviously they're not doing it. So what kind of makes me a little nervous, and I remember telling you my story of going for my concealed weapons permit in California, and the guys going through the class having zero experience, which blows my fucking mind, with weapons, and the guy almost basically shooting the instructor in like an accidental discharge and this whole deal. And I think I called Jeff on the way home, and I'm like, I believe in this Second Amendment, but there needs to be a basic intelligence test or just a basic competency test.
How many people do you know that shouldn't have a driver's license? Much less a
dude, I'm with you. I mean, to get a driver's license, you should be able to change your own oil and be able to change a tire. Right?
Sure.
Like you should be able to do some regular maintenance. Like, hey, this is how my oil change goes. This is how I change a tire. Like, this is where the hood release is. Like, you should have to be proficient in like what your car can do and how you service it to get it. And this is purely just me. I think with a gun, you should be able to not only show somebody how you load it, how you take it apart, but be proficient in how you use it. But then you get into this slippery slope, like how do you regulate it? We have 330 million people. So I get it. But there needs to be like a basic common knowledge. Like, we have to go to a hunter safety class for me to shoot something.
Yeah.
Right. And you go to hunter safety class and you go through all this and you sit in there and you're like, okay, great. I did it once. I didn't learn to hunt in a hunter safety class, but like you have to still go through that process.
And driving is not a right.
It's a privilege.
Enumerated in 1 through 10.
Yeah, right.
I know.
So
arms is.
So this is the slippery slope.
That's part of the American.
But don't you think our founding fathers, when they wrote this, think about 1776.
Totally different,
I guarantee every single one of them had a garden. Every single one of them hunted. They were proficient with firearms. Sure. They had fought Indians. They had fought redcoats.
It was a necessity.
They were actually proficient. Probably every one of them had been in the military. Right. I mean, the army had this. Like these were individuals that if we met them today would be like, I can't believe how fucking unadapted you guys are at living off what you have.
Well, the idea, because I do understand what you're saying, and I recognize that can be a major counterpoint to why people shouldn't own guns, because they should be able to prove competency. They should be able to do this. So I'm careful about how I answer that, because I don't want it to come across as being anti-gun.
And which we're not anti-gun.
But we have to be so clear.
And we're not anti-constitutional or other stuff.
But we want to make sure that is a point that we state, because I will tell you that in these conversations, I've had these words thrown back at me. Oh, you're anti-gun, you're anti-this. I mean, I have friends that say things that have them held over their heads. So for everybody listening, we are not. Everybody in this room, anybody in our socials, anybody in our social circles is all very much pro all of this. So the problem is this, is like, I like, from one point of view, I would love to see people more competent, more knowledgeable, and in essence, safer with a firearm. I would love to see that. The problem with that is that it encroaches on a constitutional right that is difficult to put in context without restricting its freedom.